All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Rums of Puerto Rico Taste of Rum Pop-Up Tour, live this afternoon from Cuba Libre in Philadelphia. So my name is Will Hookinga. I'm from Savvy.co, and I'm just here to kind of welcome you to the live stream this afternoon. So my partner at Savvy.co is Federico Hernandez, who runs the Taste of Rum Festival every year in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And he's partnered with the Rums of Puerto Rico program to bring this kind of pop-up version of the festival to the States in a limited, socially distanced capacity this year. So Fedi is at Cuba Libre right now with Ramon Diaz, who is the ambassador for the Rums of Puerto Rico program. They're getting everything kind of set up and ready to go, getting everything in place that we'll need in order to broadcast the presentation live for you. So I'm back home in Nashville and just kind of helping coordinate everything while they get set up and giving you a quick introduction today. So before they get started, I want to share a little bit about the Taste of Rum Festival and the Rums of Puerto Rico program. So we'll start with the Rums of Puerto Rico program since it's been around the longest, and you'll hear all about this from Ramon in just a few minutes. So I'll just give kind of the overview for you. So basically, Rums of Puerto Rico is a government program that goes all the way back to the 1940s. It was started by the Puerto Rico Industrial Development Company to promote the Puerto Rican rum industry and help it maintain certain production standards. And, you know, I've talked a number of times with the current director of the program, Alexandra Salgado, and she's kind of described it to me as a small marketing agency within a larger government agency, because essentially what they do is help rum brands in their promotions and marketing. They give them incentives to do their own marketing. So they're separate from the distilleries. They don't control or own the brands or anything like that. They are there to make sure that the industry is thriving and growing because it's very important to the economy of Puerto Rico, which, as I said, you'll learn from more about from Ramon in just a few minutes. So if you're just joining us, feel free to grab a glass of rum, get settled in. I'm just kind of giving a quick introduction as Rums of Puerto Rico gets set up at the restaurant in Philadelphia. So before I turn things over to them, it looks like they're still getting situated over there. So I'm going to give you kind of a short little preview. There's a few different brands you'll be seeing Ramon talk about during our time together today. And Rums of Puerto Rico has put together a few short videos about some of those brands. So we're going to take a look at one of those right now. And in the spirit of being at Cuba Libre today, we'll take a look at a brand that has a connection to Cuba, but is now a Puerto Rican rum brand. So let's check that out now.
The company started in the 4th of February of 1862 in Santiago de Cuba. The founder of the company, Don Facundo Bacardi Maso, was a Spanish immigrant that came on a boat when he was 15 years old, and he went to the New World to look for new opportunities in the New World. His vision was to create the first steps of production of the rum that we know today. Don Facundo was the first person who used the molasses for the first time. After that, Don Facundo looked for a proprietary yeast that he would use all the time for constant flavor, and he looked for a cognac type yeast that had fast fermentation, maintained the highest quality of the flavor. It's called the Levadura Bacardi, since there was a family member that destroyed the yeast before the military got there and confiscated the company, and we had it in Mexico and in Puerto Rico since 1957 and 1958. We have the original Cuban rum with the original Cuban taste.
We have the same yeast that we have used since 1862. That's the first step of the process that allows us to keep a very consistent quality, but also the master blenders play an amazing role doing that. So the same formulas and recipes have been passed through generations in a secret way all these years.
In Puerto Rico, we have what is called formal aging. That means that once we fill a barrel, we cannot touch that barrel. That barrel is going to go to an aging house and it's going to stay there for the period of time that we need. It could be 1, maybe for a Superior or Carta Blanca. It could be 8 for Bacardi 8. It could be 10 for Gran Reserva 10. or it could be 14, 16 for Bacardi Reserva Limitada. That is very important for us.
The symbol of the bat is a symbol of quality. And the first time the wife of the founder, Doña Amalia, went to the distillery, there was a colony of fruit bats in the rafters of the distillery. They were not sure what to do with the bats. They were thinking about maybe taking the bats out. And the wife told her husband, do not touch the bats. This is good omen, this is fortune, this is family unity.
What makes Bacardi the most special, and coming from Puerto Rico to the world, I think, is that the heritage, obviously, and the history that it has in Puerto Rico that goes very much to the integrity behind the product, the craft, the authenticity that's there. And then also how it's evolved, and it's so Caribbean and so Puerto Rican and warm and expressive and about the good times that we have together. I think Bacardi really stands out as something that's about liberating the soul, it's about liberating yourself, it's about having great times together and a spirited life.
Bacardi is very proud to be one of the promoters of the Rums of Puerto Rico quality seal. It's not only to have the seal, it's what it requires to have it.
In the case of Bacardi, just to be able to have the quality seal in our bottles is a guarantee to all our customers that they are really having a product of excellence. Okay, quality is our major concern. Quality and consistency in our product.
We're very proud of being in Puerto Rico because we're able to make the brand very known around the world. Since it's the largest distillery of rum in the world, it's very open to the public, and we are part of the world. We're not a brand from one country or another, and here in Puerto Rico, everybody's very proud of that heritage. And right now, I don't think there's any rums that compare to the quality we have here in Puerto Rico.
All right, so as I mentioned, Bacardi is certainly one of the brands you're going to learn more about from Ramon once he gets started in just a few more minutes. It's actually really cool. Obviously, I've had a chance to see the two pop-up events that have already taken place, but Ramon is going to do a tasting of rums from Bacardi, Don Q, and Rondo Barlito as well. And it's always interesting. He asks, the people in attendance there at the event, kind of which ones they prefer more and why. And it's always really interesting to hear those responses. So you'll get a chance to hear that in just a minute. They're still getting set up over there. And while we're waiting, I do want to mention about the Taste of Rum Festival. So this is the pop-up version of the festival, but as I mentioned earlier, the large-scale festival takes place every year in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And obviously those plans are in development for 2021 right now, but attending the 2020 festival, it took place at the very beginning of March. So, that was really right before shutdowns and things like that started happening. So we still had a chance to do the festival. It was my first time attending, and it's a beautiful outdoor venue, like a park right at the waterfront there, 12 different rum brands. There's live music, there's food, there are tents set up where brands are giving educational seminars and things like that. So it's a really great experience. I'd really encourage you to go out of your way to attend, and you can go to tasteofrum.com to get all the information you need about the upcoming festival and when that will take place. So while we're waiting, I mentioned a couple of other rum brands you're going to hear about from Ramon once he gets started. So let's take a look at another one of those right now.
Our story began with my great-great-great-grandfather. It was a gentleman named Sebastián Serralles. He was from Catalonia in the northeastern part of Spain. And for reasons that we still don't know, he either was very adventurous or was running away from the law, or for whatever reason, he got on a ship and crossed the Atlantic Ocean and settled on the south side of the island in Ponce in he started a small sugarcane operation. He has a son here in Puerto Rico. His name is Juan Serralles, my great-great-grandfather. And Juan was really the one that grew the business. He was a very shrewd businessman, very aggressive, and he basically started buying smaller sugar mills surrounding his father's old mill. And by the time Juan was done, really, he was the one that really grew the business into one of the largest sugar operations in the Caribbean. That's sort of where the story starts. Now, what's the relationship with rum? Well, rum is made from the byproduct of sugar making operations. In the Caribbean, the more sugar you're making, the more molasses you're producing, because molasses is simply what's left over when you can no longer extract sugar from sugarcane juice. So Juan, being the entrepreneur that he was, he said, you know what? I'm sure we can get a value add from this molasses. And he ordered a copper still from France. And that's how he started making his first casks of rum around the 1860s. The first invoice we have that we can prove we started selling rum was 1865.
There are 4, even 5 pillars, really, when you talk about making the best rum in the world. Because you start with the molasses, our raw material. You cannot produce a good rum without good molasses. After that, you have fermentation and distillation. You can say that probably those are one together, because fermentation fits the distillation process. We have our own yeast recovered back in 1934. And we have been using that wonderful yeast. And you go into the distillation. In our case, it's a continuous distillation process. And the continuous distillation process allows you to balance the process, to have equilibrium. And once you have that, you can keep producing the same sensory character, the same components in the rum. You can control what you get out of a product, you can control what you allow to stay in the product that later on will help you in the aging process.
When you are aging your rum here in the tropics, specifically here in Ponce, our angel losses is so high, up to 8%. If you compare our angel losses with the losses in other latitudes, our rum is going to be aged 4 times faster. What it means? Quality. What it means? Consistency. What it means? Profile. What it means? Body, roundness, smoothness.
And during that aging process, beautiful aromas, beautiful tastes really are born inside that bottle. And those are the ones that you use later in the blending and in making your rum. Along all those processes, you have quality. The main objective is to keep the quality always first. Because that rum is going to represent our brand, it's going to represent the company, but above all, it's going to represent Puerto Rico in front of the world.
In Puerto Rico, we make high quality rums, so having a standard, just anything that actually says, seal of approval, this is a quality standards aged rum, it's a message that will transcend to all consumers throughout the world. And it's a project that we've been very supportive of. We are, because again, it's protecting what is our denomination, Puerto Rico. We can own that, and we can establish Puerto Rico as truly the rum capital only if we have the right standards and the right sort of certifications to prove that, kind of like Champagne did, the way Scottish whiskeys have done in the past. So I think it's absolutely a great project. We're really excited to have it in our bottles, and we look forward to pushing that message throughout the world.
All right, so it looks like Ramon is all ready to go at Cuba Libre right now. So I'm going to bring him onto the screen and enjoy the presentation, everyone.
What is the difference between rum in Puerto Rico to the other parts of the world? So we are doing Rum of Puerto Rico promotion. But at the end, we're gonna make some tasting. We're gonna taste 2 from the rest of. We're gonna taste Don Q Gran Añejo, that is the bestseller rum in the island in Puerto Rico. We're gonna taste Bacardi Limited Reserve, that Bacardi is the bestseller rum in the world. I'm gonna finish with Ron del Barrilito. I always say it's one of the favorite of all the bartenders. So Puerto Rico is the rum capital of the world. We are the biggest rum producer in the world. So nobody in the whole world produces more rum than that little island, Puerto Rico. We are in the Caribbean, and we have the perfect weather to make rum. So why you think that we do all that? Rum Puerto Rico is a government program that promotes all the Puerto Rican brands. So why you think the government do all that promotion in the United States? Why do you think? Because of course we want to sell it. Okay. So, you know, the 70% of the rum that are sold in the United States, the 70 come from Puerto Rico. So every 10 bottles, 7 of them come from Puerto Rico. The other 3, you know, you can divide to the whole world. That's a lot of rum. But why the government do that? Because what? Because money, because taxes. All the rum that are sold in the United States pay some taxes. And the government of the United States keep back that taxes to the government of Puerto Rico. That represents more than $300 million a year, only in taxes. So the government, you know, make all that promotion in the United States, and the people can, you know, taste our rums, buy it, and drink it, and that's help all the economy of the country, all the economy of the island Puerto Rico. So, if maybe you would like to help a little bit of the economy of Puerto Rico, only you need to drink a lot of rum. Very easy. Very easy. So, let's gonna talk right now a little bit of rum. That looks great. Let's talk a little bit about rum. So, what is rum? So, I got a question. So, the people that answer the question, I give you a gift. So, I got my first question. What is rum? Here? Fermented sugarcane? So-so. What is rum? Fermented is one of the steps, but you need to do more for be a rum, not only fermented. What? Distill it. That's right. So it's a distillation. It's a distillation of sugarcane. So what I said, a distillation of sugarcane, and I don't said maybe melassa that somebody tell melassa, because you can make rum with sugarcane juice, you can make rum with sugarcane syrup, and you can make rum by sugarcane molasses. In Puerto Rico, by law, we need to make rum by sugarcane molasses because we got a lot of regulation to make rums in Puerto Rico. Remember, we are very proud of our rums. We are the biggest rum producer in the world. So if you would like to say that you are a Puerto Rican rum, you need to follow all the regulations. Not in all part of the world, the government have regulation in every distillery. But in Puerto Rico, we don't. We got government employees in every distillery and watching all the steps, watching all the procedures to make rum. If you follow all the regulations, you can say that you are a Puerto Rican rum, or you can have the quality seal. Okay. So that's perfect. So if you look the quality seal on the back of the label, that's mean that product follow all the regulations. So I got another question. If I like to make rum, what is the first step to make rum? Raw sugar cane, make molasses. That's right. So I got my second winner. You need to make the molasses. That's right. How you make the molasses? You know that? How you make a molasses? Boil it. That's right. You need to cut the sugar cane. You need to squeeze it, take out the juice. Then you start to heat it. And when you heat, you start to losing water. And then you got the syrup. You can make rum with the syrup. But if you heat a little bit more, start to make some crystal of sugars. You take out all the crystals, and what you got? Raw sugar and molasses as a byproduct. So we don't gonna throw out the molasses. We're not gonna make barbecue sauce. We're not gonna feed some cows. We're gonna make what? We're gonna make rum. In other part of the world, they feed maybe cows. They make maybe barbecue sauce. But in Puerto Rico, we make rum. I think it's better rum, right? So we make rum. So what's the next step? I got the molasses, and what I need to do? Not yet. Fermented, that's right. So I got another winner. Fermented, that's right. How are you gonna ferment it? You got the molasses, you add some water, add some yeast, heat it a little bit more, and then what? Start to ferment it. In that process, we got 8 to 10% in alcohol, sometimes 6%. That depends how many time you got in fermentation process. For white rum, we fermented for 2 days, 48 hours. For an aged rum, maybe a week or 2 weeks in the fermentation process. At that time, we got 6 to 10% of alcohol. But this enough for a rum? No, of course no. Well, not for me. So I need more than 6 to 10% of alcohol. I need at least 40. And what I need to do for get 40% of alcohol or more? We need to what? The next step. The filling, that's right. So I got a winner. I can move along with that cable. But you need to distill, that's right. In Puerto Rico, by law, we distill in column of distillation. You can distill in pot still, or you can distill in column of distillation. When you distill in pot still, you distill in batch. When you distill in column of distillation, you are distilling all the time, 24 hours in a day. We are distilling all the time, a lot of rum. So another regulation, we need to distill in column of distillation. And also when you distill in column of distillation, you make a light rum. So that's a difference to rum of Puerto Rico or in other islands of the Caribbean. We got more layers rum. What else? What's the next step? We make glaza, as I said, we ferment it, and then we distill. That's the next step. The most important part to make rum. Aging, that's right. So, I got another winner! That's why. So, that's right. So, we need to age. This is the most important part to make rum. So, if we would like a very good product, we need to wait. Wait and keep waiting. In Puerto Rico, by law, we need to age at least 1 year for a white rum. That's another regulation. But today, you're gonna taste up to 16-year-old rum. 16. Blend 9 to 12 and blend 6 to 10. But by law, you need to age at least 1 year for the white rum. If you got the Bacardi White, the Bacardi Superior, it's a blend 1 and 2 years old. Not in all places age the rum. In some places, they distill and then bottle it straight. If you would like to make good quality rum, you need to age. So I said I got maybe 12-year-old rum here. And what happened in the Caribbean? How is the weather in the Caribbean? How is the weather in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean? Hot. It's hot. That's right. That's the perfect weather to make rum. That's the perfect weather to age any product. And why that? Why is that? Because what happened with the wood of the barrel when it's hot? The wood what? The wood expand. And what happened with the liquor that you got inside the barrel? Come inside the wood and start to taking color, flavor, and aroma. We lose about 6 to 10% of evaporation every year. That's a lot of money. But if we like a quality product, we need to lose that money. So remember, we are the rum capital of the world. We are the biggest rum producer in the world. We got thousands and thousands and thousands of barrels in aging process. So in that evaporation, we call it the angel chair. Because who you think that drink that rum that evaporate to the heaven? Who? The angels, that's right. So I swear to all of you, in the top of the island of Puerto Rico, we got a lot of drunk angels. A lot. So that's another difference. If you age maybe in Scotland with Scotch. How's the weather in Scotland? Cold. What happens with the wood when it's cold? The wood contracts. And the liquor can go inside the wood and are preserving your spirit, whatever you got inside the bottle. So maybe they got 4 months of hot, the other rest of the year cold. So they need 3 to 4 years to have the same color, the same flavor, and the same aroma as in the Caribbean in only 1 year. If I got a 10-year-old rum, you need a 30-year Scotch for have the same color, the same flavor, and the same aroma. If you look this color, this is a 10-year-old rum. And look that color. No, sorry, this is a 3-year-old rum. Because that's Barrilito 2-star. That's not Barrilito 3-star. Well, that's Barrilito 2-star, only 3 years old rum. And look that color. That's a difference to make rum in Puerto Rico or in other parts of the world. Also, we got another regulation. If you look at Bacardi 10, have a 10 in a label, the number 10. What means that 10? 10 year? 10 year what? 10 year of what? The youngest rum. Okay, the youngest rum. What else? What means that 10 in the label of the bottle? Yes. What means a number in a label of a bottle? She said the youngest rum in the bottle. What else? Well, the answer is that depends in where are making the rum. In where? In Puerto Rico, remember, we got regulation for make rums. So if in Puerto Rico you got a number in the bottle, in a Puerto Rican rum, that means the youngest rum in the bottle. But not in all bottles in the world. Because in other part of the world, you don't got regulation to make rums. And maybe you got a bottle. I don't want to talk about brands and names. But I know a bottle that have a 23 in the label. And maybe you said, 23-year-old, very good rum. But if you read in the back, it's a blend, 6 to 23. 6. You want to blend a 6-year with a 23 years? I don't know, maybe. But in Puerto Rico, we can't do that by law. If we got a number, that's the youngest. Also, I know another bottle that have a 12. And maybe you said, oh, a 12-year-old rum, maybe a good rum. But no, read in the back, it's a blend of 12 different distilleries. What? A blend of 12 different distilleries? I know another one that have a 25. In Puerto Rico, if we got a 25-year-old rum, costs about $2,000 a bottle. And it's very difficult to find maybe a limited bottle with maybe 1,000 bottle only and cost $2,000 a bottle or $3,000 a bottle. But you find a bottle in a shell with a number 25 costs about $25 something. And you said, 25 years? Oh, that looks great. But reading the back, it said the 25th anniversary. What? 25th anniversary? No, man. It's a joke. But we can do that by law. By law. Remember, we got employees, government employees in every distillery. And in the night, they close all the distillery and nobody can go inside in the warehouse of aging. So, what's the next step? We got our melassa, then we fermented, then we distill, and then we age. What's the next step? Bottle? Well, not yet. We need to blend it. We need to blend the rum. In this case, we got our rum 9 to 12. So we got 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old rum blended together, and then we got our recipe. Well, that's a good question. We mostly use American white oak barrels, but we got different expression of our rums. So we got some rum that are aged in American white oak barrels, but then move to maybe a cherry cask or a vermouth cask or a porto. So I do a double age process. So we got another expression. We got some rum that's maybe like rum del barrilito that will use only cherry cask from Spain. So that's depend of the brand and that's depend of the expression of the brand. So we got different kind of barrels. Sometimes double age and sometimes are blended to one rum in American white oak bourbon cask with maybe cherry cask. So sometimes we do a blending. So okay, so that happened in the blending process. But what's the next? Bottling and what? Very good. So let's go to the hard part of my work. The hard part of my work, is drink some rum. Straight of what? Yes. No. Yes. We add water. And that's important part. In some of the brand use river water. We got like Barrilito that use rainwater. So that's depend of the brand and the expression. Sometimes we add water, after aging, in other before aging, in other we add water after and before. So that's depend of the brand and the expression. Sometimes we age in 87 proof, and in other product we age in 120 proof, and then we add water to down to 40% to 80 proof. Okay, so let's gonna taste Don Q Gran Añejo. So Don Q Gran Añejo, that's, well, right now that's an old bottle because Don Q changed the bottle about 3 or 4 weeks ago and changed the name to as a Reserva XO, Don Q Reserva XO, but it's the same recipe, only change the name and the bottle. That one, Don Q, let me talk a little bit about Don Q. Don Q is a Spanish family, Serrayes. Spanish family established in Ponce in the south of the island of Puerto Rico. I moved to Puerto Rico for a start. I produce sugar cane, sugar. Start to produce sugar. Well, what happened? You produce sugar and you got melaza. Let's start to make rum. Start to make rum in 1865. More than 155 years. More than 155 years making rum. Don Q is the best-seller rum in the island. And this one is a blend 9 to 12. But also use a 55-year-old Solera aging process in cherry cask. That one is a blend. It's aged in American white oak barrels, a blend 9 to 12, but then use a little bit of Solera aging process up to 55 years in cherry cask. That's what I'm talking about. So that's a very good rum. In here it costs about $60 a bottle, maybe, Puerto Rico. maybe $60 the bottle. I need to take out. Okay, when we gonna take some rum, what's the first step? We need to look at it. And what are you gonna look? You're gonna look the color, the Chinese, you're gonna stir in the snifter, in the glass, and you're gonna look the tear. What means that tear? What means that tear? The legs. You know about rum. The legs, that's right. So what means that leg going down very slowly? What mean? Viscosity? Well, yes. Sugar? Also. Alcohol content? Yes. But it's more like the body of the rum. The body. In this case, we got Don Q Gran Añejo. It's like medium body rum. Slight to medium. Then we need to smell it. You can smell with one side of your nose. Wow. That's delicious, right? I'm telling you, this is the hard part of my job, you know, be state to state, drinking rum, talking about rum all the days. Yesterday, I've been in New York, then and I've been to Boston, New York, Philly. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be in DC. It's a hard job. Well, you can smell this way. You can put the two hands in the snifter, and then you can breathe by your mouth and your nose at the same time. Try it. Wow. Wow. You like that way? Which one you like better? One side, two side, or mouth and nose? Mouth and nose? Nice. Which one you like better? One side, both, or mouth and nose? Both. Nice. So let's gonna taste it. You can put the rum in the center of your mouth for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you're gonna feel here in the chest. So, salud. Salud a todos. Cheers. Me encanta. I like it. Wow.
¿Esto era qué?
Dos cubraños. How you feel that? You like it? Good? Perfect. How you feeling that table? You like it? Sí. Muy rico. Me gusta. Okay. Let's gonna talk right now about Bacardi. Bacardi is a Spanish family too. Bacardi family. At first established in Santiago de Cuba. But then opened a second distillery in 1936. So I got to speak about Bacardi. So a lot of people think that Bacardi moved to Puerto Rico because the revolution, because Castro. But that's the truth. Bacardi opened the first distillery in Puerto Rico in 1936. Castro take the power in 1959. And then in 1960, Castro take over the distillery of Bacardi, and then the Bacardi family moved to Puerto Rico and stay with the distillery that have in the Ochoa building in Old San Juan. Then open another distillery in Cataño, and as now they got the biggest distillery in the world. The biggest distillery in the world. When I say the biggest distillery, is if you count all the distilling products, whiskey, scotch, bourbon, tequila, vodka, rum, the biggest distillery of all that products, the biggest is Bacardi in Puerto Rico, in the whole world. All right, so in this case, we got a blend, 10 to 16-year-old. I remember 16-year in Puerto Rico is a lot. When we open a barrel 16-year-old in Puerto Rico, we got less than a half in a bottle. That bottle costs about $120 a bottle. So you need to look. If you look, that color is a little bit more darker than the first one. Is the red dot, red or pink? I'm not sure. Bacardi Reserva Limitada is this bottle. Bacardi Limited Reserve. If you look, the legs come down more slowly than the first one. That means that it's more age. Wow. How do you feel when you smell? A little bit of some dry fruits. A little bit of almond too. Vanilla. You feel vanilla? All right. So, salud. That one is a blend, 10 to 16-year-old. Very well with the French toast. I got a restaurant in Puerto Rico, in the Old San Juan, called La Casita de Rones. It's my restaurant. And in the brunch, I got some rum syrup for the French toast. So, come very good with rum. La Casita de Rones. Rones. Rums. The House of Rums. Rones. It's in Old San Juan, in the front of the Pier 1, in La Plaza Dársena. Well, which one you like better in that table? Bacardi or Donkey? The first one or the second one? First one, Donkey. Bacardi, Donkey. And here, which one you like better? Bacardi? In that table. The first one, Donkey. First one? All right. I think it's a tie, like half and a half. Half of you like Bacardi and the other half like Donkey. All right, let's talk a little bit of Ron del Barrilito. Ron del Barrilito. Who knows Ron del Barrilito? You, you too? Okay, nice. Who knows about Ron del Barrilito? Oh, okay. Ron del Barrilito started to produce rum in 1880 in Bayamón, Puerto Rico. This rum is a Barrilito 2 stars. Barrilito have 2 stars, 3 stars, a black can, 4 star. That is the bottle that only you can find in the distillery. It's a distillery bottle that is up to 20-year old. And also Barrilito have Barrilito 5 stars. That is a bottle that costs $900 to $1,000 a bottle. Today we are gonna taste the Bacardi Barrilito 2 star, because we don't find the 3 star that we always, taste. But that one is a very good rum too. Barrilito have a lot of stories. If you look the label, the P and the F, that means Pedro Fernandez, his owner. In 1880, at first, that rum, all the people know the rum as a Fernandez rum, the last name of the owner. So at that time, we got more than 200 different kind of rums in the island. All the people make sugarcane, and all the people make rum too. All the names of the rums are the last name of the owner. And at first, the people call it Fernandez rum. But what happened? What happened in the story? When the Pedro Fernandez had visit in his home, and they have a special guest, they give it a special rum that have in the back in the house in a barrel. So they give it Ron del Barrilito that have in the back of the house. What happened? The mouth spread. And all the people know that Pedro Fernandez have a special rum in a special barrel in the back of the house. So in Spanish, have a Ron del Barrilito in the back of the house. And what happened when Pedro Fernandez have visited his home and given Fernandez rum to the guests, the people say, I don't want Fernandez rum. I want Ron del Barrilito that you got in back. Rum of little bottle. So what happened? His son, Edmundo Fernandez, that the name is in the bottom of the label, think all the people know the rum as a Ron del Barrilito. Well, let's change the name as a Ron del Barrilito. Also, that label have an angel in the center of the label. That little angel is a cherub. In Greece, that cherub, that angel, have food in his hands, because this is the angel that give it the food for the gods in Greece. What happened? They changed the food for a barrel because they said this is the rum of the gods. What else? A lot of people call it the cognac of the Caribbean too, because in that one is a full body rum. This rum, in this case, that one is aged 3 to 6 years. And they age in cherry cask. but also they use another method to make the rum. He used a big batch of a maceration process with dry fruits, and then add to every cask about 1% of the maceration of dry fruits. Only 1% of the cask. So they have a little bite of spices and dry fruits. So let's gonna taste ron del barrilito. Look that color. This is only 3 to 4 years old rum. And look that color. And that legs. Well, in the case of barrilito, you said? In general, yes. Yes, but in the case of barrilito, they use cherry cask all the time. All the time. So that's depend of the expression of the brand. But most of them use a bourbon cask at first. The clear? That's a good question. So I got a question. I got a question for all of you. You tell me a question. I keep back that question. So what color is the rum when you take out of the barrel? What color? White? Remember, when you got the barrel, when you got the liquor inside the barrel, amber. That's right. That's depend, bro. Well, the answer is that's depend how many time, how many years the rum is in the barrel. But more time in the barrel is more darker. But in about 2 years, maybe amber is the color. So, but what happened with the white rum? What happened with the white rum? If I got, in the barrel for 1 or 2 years, we take out and the color is like amber or a gold. What happened with the white rum? How we make the white rum? You don't know? If you don't age, we don't age that rum. Sometimes in other places they don't age the rum, only distill at bottle. That's the way that they do the white rum. In Puerto Rico, by law, we need to age the rum. So what we need to do? We need to filter. We filter with charcoal, and when we filter with charcoal, we take out the color, a little bit of flavor, and a little bit of aroma. And at that time, we got a more natural product, more like that is the white rum, that the white rum is the best seller in the whole world. So I like more the aged rums, but the people consume more the white rum because they use the white rum for make a lot of cocktails. If you drink a mojito like that one is aged with white rum. That one is with white rum. So that's the way we do the white rum. What else? Okay, I got some question. I have some gift. I answer your question? Yes. Perfect. Who knows? You need to raise your hand. Who knows and tell me at least 3 different regulations to make rum in Puerto Rico? There. Tell me one. Yes, you need to age at least 1 year. So I got a winner. What else? Another regulation. Need to age at least 1 year. What else? Another regulation to make rum in Puerto Rico. You got another one? Okay. Remember, in Puerto Rico, we are hot all the year. So right now, in here is maybe 40 something or 50. In Puerto Rico, maybe 85. But let me do a tip. What means a number in the bottle? What means the number in the bottle? In Puerto Rico, remember. So what means a number in the bottle? There. The less age in a bottle, the youngest rum in the bottle. All right. The youngest rum in the bottle, that means the number in the bottle. So this is another regulation in Puerto Rico. If you add a number in the bottle, that means the youngest. All right. I got an easy one. Who can tell me 3 names of Puerto Rican rums? 3 names. It's very easy. There. Bacardi? What? Reserva. Reserve. Well, reserve is the expression of Bacardi. Okay, and then you. You don't remember? Barrilito, Ron del Barrilito, that's right. So I got another winner. Okay. Well, I got another question. I got another question. What's the national drink of Puerto Rico? That's a difficult one. Cuba Libre? Cuba Libre? Cuba Libre? You think no? Okay. Mojito? Which one? It's one of the most famous cocktails in the whole world. One of the most influential cocktails. Piña colada, that's right. So I got another winner. Piña colada. Okay. If you don't know, the piña colada is our national cocktail. Was invented in 1954 in the Caribe Hilton in Old San Juan by Ramon Monchito Marrero, the bartender Ramon Monchito Marrero, and is one of the most famous cocktails. It's in the top 5 seller in the whole world and come from Puerto Rico. And when I say it's one of the most famous cocktail, I can prove it to you. Who knows a song like said Piña Colada. You know a song that said Long Island or Cosmopolitan? No. But you know a lot of songs that said Piña Colada. That's right. Also, you got like smell Piña Colada smell in the pine of the car. You got oils with Piña Colada flavor. We got oil of Piña Colada smell. You got also condoms with Piña Colada flavor. So Piña Colada is one of the most influential cocktails in the whole world, and it's our national cocktail. All right, let me get one more question. One more question. How many or how much we got in taxes every year selling rum in the United States? More than $300 million a year. When I say more, it's more. It's at least 400. Okay. Well, as now, I need a big applause for all of you. You answer all the questions. You're doing very great job. Thank you. Thank you for being part of our seminar. Thank you for being part of our rum tour. Remember, you can go to Puerto Rico. We got the Puerto Rico rum journey, and you can visit all the distilleries. In Puerto Rico, we got about 7 different distilleries, and more than 100 different expressions of rums. Also, you can visit La Casita de Rones in Old San Juan, the little house of rums. It's our flagship store. It's one of them. It's the best bar, the best restaurant, in my opinion, in Puerto Rico. And I said, in my opinion, La Casita de Rones is. I said, in my opinion. It's in my opinion because it's my bar and my restaurant. So, so you can visit me. If you go to Puerto Rico, only you need to, you be with me here in Philly to any manager, and they give you the first cocktail free, of course, for sure. So, Federico, you want to say something?
Hello. Well, first, thank you everybody for coming. I know during the COVID-19, a lot of things have changed. Maybe 2 years from now, you'll be back and we'll be here with a great party as well. But now it's actually a beautiful time to at least join us as a meal. You try some of the best Puerto Rican rums that are available in the U.S. As Ramon mentioned, we have the Puerto Rico rum journey. This is kind of our bourbon trail. We've done it now with all the distilleries in Puerto Rico, and most of them didn't even have a tour before. So it's going to be a great reason to visit our island, to drink rum, visit our distilleries, and of course go to La Casita. And if you ever want to plan an event, we do our National Rum Festival, which is called Taste of Rum, which we've been celebrating for over 13 years. And for sure, get ready to party because it's a lot of fun, and get that liver ready too. Well, thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and happy holidays.